All right, let's actually hop over to some big news this week. Let's talk about some MAPPA. MAPPA drama, them trying to fix the drama, trying to get a better work environment, all that good stuff. All right, so let's catch some people up. Base point here is MAPPA has been, we hold it in such high regard because of their incredible animation skills. But ultimately, like a lot of animation studios, MAPPA is kind of a shit show, more or less. Pay people low, terrible work environment. That's the gist of what's come out online. Okay, just catch people up there. So the first thing is there was a MAPPA animator that recently did an interview that when he was working with Netflix on Yosuke, tweeted about how the producers suggested they pay only 3,400 yen per cut, which is about $34 for us. The industry standard is about 4,500 yen, which is already low. But he also then followed up on his comment, to avoid misunderstanding, I have to say that my issue is with Netflix. For all the amount of capital they have, the problem is that they started to place orders with such low rates. There's a possibility that the prices are even lower than a TV series. So that was the first little tidbit that came out of this.
That might actually be why Yasuke was so poorly done then. If you're getting paid very under minimum, screw it. Why are you going to put a lot of effort into it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. The next thing that was coming out is involving Chainsaw Man that is coming to Netflix later this year. So apparently Chainsaw Man has started a new phase for MAPPA, essentially. Over the last year, MAPPA, of course, has gotten this terrible name for itself, that, as we've heard, for the working conditions. And recently in a magazine, the Chainsaw Man director unveiled a new workspace for the Chainsaw Man staff, which is featuring a large lounge area, which breaks are encouraged. Further goes on, which I did think this part that it says, I did think this was funny, because I even had to text Josh, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Was this a typo? Yeah. What is this? What does this mean? I did not know. But the article literally says, MAPPA intends to have an animation village filled with nature, shapes, and cafes for its staff. And I had to ask, what the hell was shapes in this case? They literally have shapes building blocks. What does that mean? But anyway, it does go on to say that while the work conditions have vastly improved, it is a big step in the direction, but it may not mean anything unless the wage condition is solved, which the last part of this whole thing. MAPPA did actually put out an official statement when it comes to employees' pay. They say that we've never offered unreasonable compensation to our creators, but offered rates that are fair relative to the budget of the project, whether in current or past projects. It also claimed that there was never been a focus for creators to work. So what's you guys' thoughts on this? Because here's my big takeaway about this. We've heard about working conditions like this before, okay? We know that animators don't get paid really well, okay? We know that. That's nothing new. My big thing about this is MAPPA's not sorry this has happened. They're sorry they got caught. That's how I see this.
Basically.
Yeah, they're making all these big steps because of how much things have been put out into the open. Okay, that's how I view this. They're not sorry any of this shit's happened. They're just sorry they got caught. That's all it is. And it's one of those things as well. And I saw for Neverworld tweet about this. I want to give a shout out to him on this. Is that he talked about how, again, we've seen this sort of shit all the time in the past, and all that's really going to happen out of this is that we're talking about it now as fans and as the community, but then the next big hit's going to come out, we're going to forget about it, praise the animation, move on, right? Which is true, and that is part of the problem, is that when these things do come out, I do feel like they don't get enough light. I don't feel like they get enough focus. But when it comes to this, good on MAPPA to actually step up and make some changes, but again, they're only doing it because they got caught. That's my big takeaway from this.
Well, here's my thing with it is yeah, I agree with you from all these statements and whatnot. It's more or less just sounds more of they're backtracking more than apologizing at all, because we haven't seen any sort of official statement or just apology or anything.
Exactly.
Which, for all we know, there may have been some company thing that sort of acts like that, and they just want to keep it in company. But at the same time, these are literally just statements and things that they are claiming they are pushing forward, and things who's going to go back and double check these?
Right.
All we're really hoping is that they are doing this, and then if they don't, maybe an employee's able to get something out there or whatnot. But I don't know the work environment, so I don't know how easy it is for them to have a gag order or anything on stuff like that. So I mean, sort of shitty, but it is sort of the thing of, yeah, it's been brought to light and now we're aware of it. But as you said, new animation comes out, people will sort of forget until the next thing shows up.
Yeah, the next problem.
Yeah. And that's basically how it is. Like, I mean, with Attack on Titan, a lot of people wanted to complain about the animation quality, but then that only lasted until, like, you know, everyone started watching Jujutsu Kaisen.
True.
And they were like, oh, Jujutsu Kaisen's amazing. Like, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of, I don't know, weird for me because I see all this stuff about MAPPA, but I don't see anything about any of these other animation studios like WID or Toei or, you know, any of these, or even Dean, which, you know, is really odd. Like, is MAPPA the only one that's, like, really this bad? If so, like, you know, maybe they really do need to take a look at themselves.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I don't know if they're like the biggest studio, but I mean, they're one of the most well known.
Yeah, I don't think they're the biggest studio, but
definitely a top 5.
Yeah,
definitely a top 5. And you know, it is possible it's just them. I mean, because you know, little plug here from other podcasts, Lighthearted Gamers. I mean, it's the same thing in the gaming industry. That, you know, there's been, you know, lots and lots of stuff come out about a couple different companies and just how terrible the environments are. But it's only select a few. You know, Blizzard is a great example. Mm-hmm. You know, we've seen so many reports about how shitty Blizzard's been, where there's literally employees like sleeping under their desk and crying in hallways and shit. I mean, this stuff happens, but you know, it could be just MAPPA. MAPPA could just be, you know, one of the few shitty ones, but at the same time, it could be possible there could be others, and they're just really tight-lipped about it. But I mean, like I said, it's good to see that they're doing the changes, but I don't know, just the changes to me just kind of feel like half-assed, half-hearted, you know, because it's just, again, they're sorry they got caught. That's it. That's the only thing about it.
That's pretty much, yeah, exactly what I got from it. When you sent me that text, like, well, that sucks anyway. I was like, that's basically how it is.
Yes. Yeah. I sent him a couple memes where this is basically how it's going to turn out, where it's just like, oh no. Anyway. And then there's also the one from Loki where it's just like, yeah, unfortunate. Okay. So anyway, that's basically what this situation is that, you know, we're like, oh wow, that's tragic. Ooh, that looks really good over there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. That's basically what this is going to be. Give it like literally like a week, and we'll probably stop talking about this as a community.
Chainsaw Man or that one they're doing with Madhouse, like one of those come out, and it's like it'll nobody will remember.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is good to talk about this stuff because this stuff does need more light shed to it. So I would like to take, you know, the platform that we're attempting to build and give it its shed to light that it does deserve. So hopefully we can try to keep this relevant because this is important stuff. But ultimately, the anime community will just drop it. Give it a week. It'll be irrelevant.
I have a thought here, and this just came to me, but do you think this is all happening solely because of Attack on Titan? Because that was one of the, you know, most hated on things when it was on. And that's when, weirdly around when all this started happening, was between Attack on Titan and Yasuke. So do you think it's because of like how much people didn't really care for how those were done that, you know, this is becoming a big deal? Like these animators and stuff are kind of jumping on board with that, and like, you know,
it is
it's hard. Nobody liked it. Like, you know, fuck this place.
It is definitely possible because it's one of those things. It's like, you know, the final straw sort of situation, final straw, and it's just like, okay, this is like something popped up where it's like, this is the opportunity for us to strike kind of situation.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, with the amount of like just how much it's being bashed, with how much, you know, the other one's being bashed, like this is our opportunity to step up and do something. So yeah, I definitely could see that as a possibility. They saw a chance and they took it. And so yeah, I definitely think that could be a possibility.
Because the way I'm looking at it too is like, if they're really getting paid like, you know, lower than the industry average,
right?
Why wouldn't they just be like, okay, well, I'm going to go to Toei and get paid a little bit better? Like, why would they stick it out through that? Like, there's literally no reason.
Well,
I mean, if you're a good animator, like, you could probably get a job.
I think that's more of a cultural difference.
Maybe it's possible.
Because I was reading how the Japanese workforce is versus the U.S. workforce.
Yeah, and that's possible. Because I mean, the reason I brought it up is because I was reading in one of those articles. I don't remember which one, but compared to like Toei, MAPPA doesn't offer its employees, as much as other companies. Like Toei will put you through like an animation school, basically. Whereas like I think one of those articles was saying that MAPPA basically just like throws you in and is like, all right, hope you know what to do. So that's why, I come to that conclusion. Like, why not just, go somewhere, or at least, like knowing if they're going to pay you less, try to go somewhere else. But you're right, cultural differences.
Yeah.
I've never been to Japan, so I don't know.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.